Hey everyone, welcome to this video. Today, I'm going to show you how you can build your own AI LinkedIn personalized content machine that can generate posts for you based on high converting formats and post automatically for you on LinkedIn if you wish, using n8n. By the way, my name is Nina. I help companies build and automate with AI, and I also teach people how to do the same. Let's dive in. So first of all, I just want to do an overview of how our workflow works. So first step is our Google Sheets. In our Google Sheet, we basically have a list of all our competitors or anyone in our space that is maybe a few steps ahead of us or just has your marketing on point and produces a lot of high engaging, high converting posts. And here we just want to store your LinkedIn URL as well as maybe some information about them to keep track. And the first thing we want is to basically read out that sheet, and we pass that sheet over to Apify where we're able to run a job that will scrape all the recent posts from those high performing competitors. And then we post those high performing posts back into the Google Sheet in another tab. The next step for us would be then to analyze those posts that we scraped from our competitors to find out their high converting posts and hooks, also the formats they use for their posts that work really well. And after that, the next step would be to generate our own posts. And in my scenario, I have a knowledge base. So basically in my knowledge base, the AI agent is able to pull information about my personal company. And then using that, it can then generate really personalized posts that are really relevant and correct in terms of what I'm doing in my company. And after that, we append the generated posts back to Google Sheets. And here we can basically loop over items. So usually this workflow provides 5 different posts. So in each loop, it basically sends one post to the user and the user is able to read the post and see if they want to auto post it or maybe it's not good enough. If the user then declines, then it suggests the next post and keeps going on and on and on until the user is satisfied. And if the user is not satisfied, then it saves all those posts to another tab called decline, where the user could then go maybe make some modifications and auto post themselves. Or if they are satisfied, it then posts it directly to LinkedIn. The next thing, I just want to show you how this Google Sheet does look like. So here we have our first tab, which is our competitor list. And then the next one we have anything we get scraped will be put in here. Then for all generated posts, we'll also get the post generated from the competitor so we can see that side by side and also the status. So if we approve a post, it will here show approved. And if we decline a post, it will have declined instead. And then for declined posts, it just puts the declined post in that area. And for our accepted post, puts the accepted post here. So you can always come back. All right, now let's go step by step on how we can build this. First thing we're going to do is we're going to add a trigger. And then the next step is going to be adding a Google Sheets node. I'm just going to search that Google Sheets. And we're going to add get roles in the sheet because we want to pull all those roles from the LinkedIn post generator. So I'm going to add that. So here you connect your credentials, which is just basically saying, here's my authentication, connect my account to this. You already have a credential connected. So if you want, you can just create a new credential. Or if you have one before, you can just connect with that. And then your resource, we want the resource to be sheet within documents. We want the operation to be get roles. And for document, we just want to choose the document that says LinkedIn post generator in my case. And for the sheets, we want it to be the competitor list. For our next step, we want to add an if statement. So the reason for this if statement is just because the way I have it set up, I don't want it to scrape what it has already scraped before, especially during a particular time frame, because what Apify does is it scrapes the recent posts. So if I've already scraped all the recent posts, I don't want to scrape it 3 times. So I add an if statement. So we're just going to search for the if node. And in this node, I want the value of scraped to be no. So that means we haven't scraped that one yet. Here, you just drag and drop scraped to this side. And for the value, you just want to input no. For our next step after that, we want to add a limit because we never want to overwhelm the API. So what that means is if you're sending a lot of founders to the API at the same time, it could cause the API to be very slow or maybe even crash because there are a lot of people using the same API. So I always like to be cautious. So I only send one at a time, just not to slow down the process or just to cause any holds. So here we want the mass item to be 1. So we want to do 1 founder at a time. In the next step, we want to add an HTTP request, which is how we're going to access the Apify API. So here we're just going to search HTTP request. And next thing we have to do is configure everything here. So to do that, we're going to go to Appify. And here on Appify, if you don't have an account already, you can just create an account. I already have an account, so I'm just going to log in. And then you want to go to Appify Store. So in the Appify Store, you can basically look for a lot of actors that you can use for scraping things and other actors that also exist here in Appify. The one I use is called LinkedIn Profile Post Scraper No Cookies. It's a pay per results kind of model. So you have $5 for 1,000 results. And actually in Appify, they give you $5 free credits that you could use. And if you have 1,000 results, it would keep you occupied for a while. And you could always repurpose your content as well to use next time. So it's fairly easy to set up. What we need here is just a profile username or URL. The first thing we need to get is an API endpoint. So we can just come over here to this tab that says API and just click on API endpoints over here. Here we want to scroll down to the one that says run actors synchronously and get dataset items. And we just want to copy the link over here. And also, if you don't already have an API token set up, you just have to come over here and set that up, because that is what we're using to authenticate your account for n8n to be able to pull the results from Appify into your n8n account. Coming back to n8n, now we want to set up this HTTP request node. So just going to click on it, and we want the method to be post. Here, we want the URL to be the URL we copied from Appify. I'm just going to paste that in here. And your token is going to be right at the end. So you don't need any authentication. It will just authenticate through the URL. So here, we're going to leave authentication as none. And the next thing we want to do is we want to send the body. So basically, the first time I showed you those things we need to set it up, which is the URL or username, as well as the limit or any other optional parameters you want to put in. So we're just going to toggle this on. Here we want our body content type to be JSON, and we want to use JSON. So you click using JSON. And one really cool thing about this is you can actually just get the JSON directly from Appify. So here you can just type in a username, and we want our result limit to just be 1. And then we're going to go to JSON. We're just going to copy this like this. And we want to post that right here in the JSON. Toggle this to become expression. And we actually want to change this hard-coded username and put in the LinkedIn URL instead. So I'm just going to take this off. And I'm just going to put the LinkedIn URL here. And you want to make sure that is in quotes as well. So now we've made this dynamic. So whatever LinkedIn URL that gets sent here will automatically update based on what we're receiving from the spreadsheet at that point. Our next step, we want to add a Google Sheet node, which is where we're going to put all the new scrape posts and store it in that Google Sheets for reference later. So I just want to search Google Sheets. And we want to append row in Sheets. So here we just want to connect our credentials again. We want our resource to be sheet within documents. We want it to be append row. And we're just going to choose that same document we've been using that has those different tabs. So LinkedIn post generator. And for the sheet, we want to choose the scrape post from competitors tab. For mapping column mode, we want to set that as map automatically. So whatever scrapes, you just wanted to dump it in that sheet. And now we just want to test up. So the next thing I want to do is I want to add our AI agent. So the first AI agent we're going to add is our AI agent that's going to help us analyze this post and get the winning hooks and formats that we'll be using to write our own personalized post. Also, if you like really cool builds like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps me keep bringing out really cool builds like this to help you guys on your n8n journey and help you guys build and automate with AI. Back to the build. So here we come to the plus sign, and we just want to click on add, and we want to add AI agent. Here we have the source for prompt. So we want our source for prompt to be defined below, and we have our user prompt. For this, we also require a specific output format, because we don't want the AI giving us anything we don't want. We want it straight to the point and exactly what we need. So we just want to toggle this on as well. And we'll also need a system prompt. So just a standard prompt to tell our AI agent how we want it to behave. So I will just add system message. Here for our system message, I'm just going to post that in. So we want that to be expression, and then we just want to put in our prompt. So this is my prompt over here. I'll go over it just to show you how you can structure your prompt to get optimal outputs. And for our user prompt, we just want to put a prompt that looks something like this. Also make this expression, and it says, Here is one high performing LinkedIn post with 500 likes. Use this to learn from, analyze them, break them down to your formats and your hooks. And for our system message, what it looks like is it says, you're a LinkedIn ghostwriter. So basically we tell it its role and we basically give it context behind the company that is going to be working for it. So it's going to be writing posts for. And we just tell it everything that it needs to do. We tell it its exact job, which is its exact task, which is just to analyze this post from our competitors and come up with popular post formats and breaking down what the hook is, the content type, and things like that. And we also feed it the one high performing LinkedIn post and also the amount of reactions so it can know how high performing this actually is, if it is good to go. Coming here, we want to also connect an output parser. So just basically to give us the output that we want or streamline output. And for this, we just want to click on the plus sign and we want structured output parser. We select that. And here we have something already generated here for us. But for the schema type, you want to make sure it's generated from JSON example. And for the JSON example, I'm just going to paste something in here. So here we just have basically hook type, just an example of how we want the AI to bring out its output when it generates its custom output. So here we have hook type, bold opinion, hook underscore example underscore text. We also need to connect a chat model. So we just click on the plus sign. I want to use OpenAI. And I found that GPT-4 works really good for this. Also 4o mini also works really good. So we can use any of those for this use case as well. 4o for this. Our AI agent is good to go. So for our next AI agent, we basically want to take the output we get from here and push it to the next AI agent. But first of all, let's just test this step. And we see here it's given us the exact hook type and hook example text that we want. And always make sure to save your workflow so you don't lose anything along the way. Now we want to add our second AI agent, which is going to generate this personalized LinkedIn post for us based on this analysis the first agent has done. So we want to click on the plus sign and we want to search for AI agent. We select that. We want it also to be defined below. We have a user prompt and we also want to toggle this green because we want it to give us output in a specific format. We come here to add option and we want to click on that and click on system message. And here we're also going to configure a system message to help the AI agent understand how it's to act. Coming out of here, I'm just going to add an output parser. So we click on the plus sign under output parser and we want to click on structured output parser. Here we're also going to do generate from JSON example. And here in this JSON example, I'm just going to post this in. Just paste this in. And here we have the post number. So basically, this just helps us identify what batch it was in, because this will be generated in different batches with 5 posts in each batch. So it just helps us keep track of that. And for the post text, we just want, this is the post, like this is the text that the generated post. So the AI will put the post it generated in that field. We're just going to click add that. We also want to add a chat model. So I'll still be using OpenAI. And for this, I'm going to be using GPT-4 as well. Or actually in this one, I'm going to use 4o. So in the 2 agents, we use GPT-4o. And I'm just going to come back to the AI agent configuration. And here for the prompt, you want to switch this to expression as well. And here we're just going to put the high performing LinkedIn post, the hook type, and the hook post / text. So we're giving it an example of the high performing post that we scraped and the hook type, as well as the hook post / text that we got from the analyzer. And for the system prompt, I'm just going to copy paste this as well. We want to switch this to expression. Just going to make this bigger and I'm just going to post this in. So in this particular bot, we have this prompt, and this prompt as well is just like the last one. We're telling it its role. So you're a LinkedIn ghostwriter. We're giving it more detail on our business or company. So in my use case, I'm upscale and we basically do all this streamline onboarding, things like that. I want to include the audience that the AI agent is going to be writing to, help it tailor this really to this audience. So we have this as well. And we just want to give it a lot of context of the context of the LinkedIn page is posting from. So we just tell it you're posting through a personal brand. And sometimes I notice that it promotes the product a lot and is like really salesy. Like it just put things like, oh, message me now, buy now, stuff like that. So we really want to grill into it. Like we don't want that. We want to be human. We want to be relatable, and we're not trying to sell the product. So do not sell the product. So here we just have your posting through a personal brand. Don't pitch the software. Never pitch the software. Show what it's like to build it. Show the hurdles, the pain, the doubts, the breakthroughs, everything. Because this is basically targeted as founder-led marketing, which really works well on LinkedIn. And we want it to be authentic. If anything bad happens, say what happened that was bad. And yes, we basically have all this. And here we also write the job. So your job is to write 5 high-performing LinkedIn posts that feel like you're written by the founder, high-performing formats, a tone that is direct, founder-led, no fluff. And we also give it the high-performing post, the hook type, and the post, and so on. So it looks like our second agent is good to go. And for our next step, what we need to do is we need to get the post that has been generated and put it in the Google Sheet for storage. So we're just going to add another Google Sheet, add another Google Sheets node. And what we want to do is we want to append row and sheets. We want sheets within, we want append row. And here we still want the exact same sheet we've been using. And for this, we want to link the sheet all generated posts. For here, we want to map each column manually, actually. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to execute previous nodes. Perfect. So we just want to map this one after the other. So we drag and drop this here. For post text, we drag and drop this here, which is basically post text is the text generated by the AI. And for generated posts from competitors, we want basically the post that was scraped from our original competitor. So maybe after, if we want to just make some comparisons, fix up some stuff, we can also do that. So we'll come here to Google Sheets 1, and here we just want to get this text node over here. We drag and drop that. And for the status here, we're just going to leave that blank so we can just delete that, and it looks good to go. We want to test this step. It's always good to test steps after each node just to make sure your workflow is running correctly and you can easily point out where the errors are coming from. Awesome. So our next step is to set up the workflow that can automatically post this on LinkedIn for us and also show us automatically the posts so we can also verify if we want them to be posted using human in the loop. So our first step is to add a loop. So in this scenario, this is where we want to add multiple posts, multiple founders. Here in our limit, we would actually increase our limit to maybe 5 max items. This is not too much to overwhelm the API, but it's a good enough number to get like 5 posts per run, which would be good for our use case. But if you feel like 1 is enough, then you can totally just directly just connect this to post on LinkedIn. Or you could add the human in the loop right after the Google Sheet. And then if you do accept it, you can just post it to LinkedIn. But just because sometimes the AI might not give us what we really want, or some posts are good, some need some tweaking, I'd like to get 5 at once that I could just look at and just choose one to be able to post next. So I'm just going to change this over here, the limit to 5. And we're just going to rerun this so we can then continue with the next steps for this automated posting schedule. So we've run that, and now we're getting 5 items. So if ever you want to get more posts at a time, you just have to increase it there in that limit. So coming over to the loop over items, we just want to delete this. For the done over here, we're just going to click on the plus sign, and we're going to search for edit field sets. And for this, we just want it to be manual mapping, and we just want to set a field called output that could just be like all posts. Okay, so I just want to go over how this loop is going to work. So how we're going to configure the loop is for as long as the person hasn't gotten a post that they like, it will keep sending them more LinkedIn posts. And as we go deeper into the build, I'll explain that better. So coming here, we just want to delete this, and we want to add a human in the loop. So basically it would tell us, do you want to post this before it actually posts? So here I'm just going to go to human in the loop, and I want it to be a Gmail email. Here we just want to set up our credentials, and we want the resource to be messaged, operation to be sent and wait for response. And 2, we just want to put an email right there. And for the subject, we're just going to put approval for generated LinkedIn posts. And for the message, we just want to put something that's very descriptive that we can understand. This good enough to post on LinkedIn. And what we want to do is we then want to display the message that was generated by our AI agent for the post. So we'll just come back here to loop over items. Okay, we get everything here. But if you want to be on the safer side, it'd be better to just get it from the Google Sheets. So we just drag this, which would be our post text. So we just put that here. Okay, we actually have to turn this to expression, and we'll just put that under there. Next, for the response type, we want approval. In approval options, you just want to click on add option. And for type of approval, you want it to be approve and disapprove. And for the approve button label, I'm just going to change that to post on LinkedIn, so it's more descriptive. And for the other one, I just want it to be decline. And we want that to be the secondary. In this loop, our next step we want would be to add an if statement. So the purpose of this if statement, we want to say, if the post is approved, post it to LinkedIn. If the post is not approved, then send me another post that I can look at to see if I like that one instead. So we're just going to add that if statement here. And here, basically in this if statement, we want to drag and drop this as value 1. So we want to do if data approved is equal to true. So basically those bring out true and false values. So it either be true or false. Let's say we got an approval, it would be equal to true, and that would be true. So then we want to continue with the posting on LinkedIn. So first thing we want to do is we want to add another Google Sheet. And that Google Sheet basically puts that approved post into another tab called approved post. So I'm just going to do append row in a sheet. I want this to be append row. And we want to choose that same sheet. But for this, we want to put it as accepted post, just so we can keep track. Also here in the if statement, we want this to actually be Boolean, not to be a string. So always make sure it's Boolean. We can also do this if JSON the data approved is true, which works well as well. So that'll be okay as well. And I'm just going to run this again just to test it out. Awesome. So coming back to this Google Sheet here, we just want to drag in all those information. So here from loop over items, we just want to take the post text and put it in post text, and also the post number, which is the batch number it was made, and put it there as well. For the next step after that, we want to update the status. So we'll come here again to another Google Sheet, because in that all generated post, we just want to put that this particular post was approved so we can keep track. So I'm just going to come here and I'm just going to search Google Sheets. Same thing, we want to do LinkedIn post generator. And for the sheet, we want it to be all generated posts. Now we can delete everything here. The row we want to match on would be the post text. And then for the status, we just want this to be approved. For the post text, we just want to drag again, just from this Google Sheets. It doesn't have to be Google Sheets 3. It can still be from the loop over item. We just push this over here. But if you want as well, you could also put it from the Google Sheets 3, the one that we previously set up. It will work just same. And the very last step in this part of the workflow would be to post to LinkedIn. So you just want to search up LinkedIn. And here you just want to set up your credential with the LinkedIn accounts. You want the resource to be post, operation, create, person. And then you just want to put the person name or ID here. And for the text, you just want to drag and drop the post text here into the text, and it will post that on LinkedIn for you. Now, configuring our other path, which is when we decline the post, the first thing we want to do is we want to add another Google Sheet. So that basically just updates the Google Sheets to put the disapproved post in another place that we can come back later on to review. So it'll be append row in a sheet, same thing as before, same sheet. And for this sheet, we want it to be decline post. We want to map each column manually. And from the loop as well, we're just going to push in the post text and the post number as well. Next thing we want is also to update the status, just like before. So we're just going to do another Google Sheet, but this time the status is going to be declined. So we're going to do update row in sheet, and the same thing as before. We want update row. We want this to be LinkedIn post generator. We want this to be decline post. After this, we want to add another Google Sheet just to update again the status of that all generated post sheet. We're going to search for Google Sheets. We're going to look for update row in a sheet, the same configurations as last time. This time we want it to be all generated posts. Here we want to column to match on will be on post text. We want to delete all these other ones. We only want the status. For the post text, we're just going to drag and drop this from here. I'm just going to do it this time from the Google Sheets. You want to do that. And here we want our status to be declined. And our next step, we just want to connect this node here all the way back to our loop. So we come here and we want to just connect this back here. So that will run like this every time. And there we have it. That is our loop. So just to explain another high level, the reason for this loop is if we're going over the items here and we have two options, accept or decline due to our human in the loop. If we accept, it gets posted on LinkedIn. If it declines, it comes here, updates the status, and basically gives us another post to review. And when we like a post, it just posts that. But if at the end we don't like any of the posts, it will just come here and end the automation right here in this edit field set, saying that it gave us all the posts. We didn't like any of them. They've gone for review. Last thing, just because sometimes it may take a while for the browser to fully process when we have given our approval or maybe our disapproval here in our human in the loop, we just want to add a wait in between. So it will give it enough time to finish before it proceeds to the next step and nothing clashes along the way. So here we're just going to delete this. And I just want to highlight this guy so I can move them to the right. Here, after the Gmail node, we're actually going to add a wait. And we want this resume to be after time interval. And we can put this as 10 seconds, which would be enough time for that to process properly to make sure we don't run into any bugs. And we just connect that back to the if statement as so. And that is it, your own AI LinkedIn machine. To take this to the next level, to really make sure your posts are really, really personalized and for you to be able to always update new information about your post, your company, what's happening, to give the AI fresh ideas, you can come back to the second AI agent we have here that writes posts, and you can actually add a knowledge base. So in my original workflow, I have Quadrants, which is the knowledge base I use, but you can use other ones like maybe Superbase. So we just want a vector database that can store that information for us and that our AI agent could always go there and pick the information. For that, I'm not going to be going so in depth on how to set that up, but in another video, I'm going to go over how you can set up a knowledge base and connect it to your AI agent to be able to achieve this for you and take your automation to the next level. And that is it, the step-by-step guide on how you can build your own personalized LinkedIn content machine. If you like this video and like builds like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. And any questions you have at all, make sure you leave them in the comment section down below. And I'll be linking the JSON file for this build out as well as other resources in the description. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.